Hello again, I'm Bob Colts, and we're continuing our conversations in Charlotte Public Schools. Rachel Huntley, if you're a kindergartner in Charlotte, they probably know who you are.
Yes, probably.
And you're Employee of the Month. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
What does that mean? What do you do to be Employee of the Month, and what are kind of your thoughts about working in Charlotte?
You know, to be honest, Employee of the Month, it was a surprise recognition when I got a call about it, but really sitting here, I'm kind of just the face of all the collaboration that happens for me to get here. So I can't do my job without every staff member at my school, with the parents, with the families, with the community. They really just kind of make it so that I can be the best that I can be.
And you've been a kindergarten teacher for a while, but you've also been in the school district for much longer.
Yes, yep. I've been in Charlotte for 10 years, and for 6 years in kindergarten, and actually my first class will be graduating this year, so...
Congratulations.
I know, that's a pretty big accomplishment. I'm kind of excited about that, and I have several seniors this year that are volunteers in my classroom that want to be teachers, so that's kind of cool to kind of see it come back, and some of them are former students.
So it must be kind of wild to see a kid grow up during that time of a decade, and so what do you think? How have they changed?
You know, I can still see that little child in them, but to be honest, they're just the one that I've had for quite a while, but they just seem to have always had kind of a zest for kids in their life. So even when they were third graders, they still loved the little ones. They still, we used to do reading buddies in third grade, and we had kindergartners for our partners, and those were the kids that always wanted more partners. Can I read with somebody else? Can I do something else for another child? So I kind of think that teaching starts so young that we don't even realize it.
So tell us, or share with parents, what does a kid in kindergarten need to do to come prepared to school to learn now?
You know, there are a lot of skill sets that kids could come to school with, but to be honest, for me, I would rather children come with some understandings of how to interact with others. So, I mean, I can teach them letters and sounds and reading and writing and math, but to have them come with interpersonal skills and communication skills is really important for me, and to understand that really school is about learning, and their life is about learning. So I call my students learners. I don't call them kindergartners, I don't call them children. Throughout the day I call them learners, and so that they start feeling that, so that it becomes kind of a part of them.
So what do you hope they learn in that first year experience?
Besides the academics, which are super important, I really want them to understand perseverance. You know, that if they try something, I mean, my saying is try your best and keep on going. And to be honest, I want them to be able to tackle any problem that they have and find solutions in creative ways, and just kind of be dynamic in who they are.
And so is communication a challenge for young people?
It is. I think with more and more children sitting in front of TVs and with computers and technology age upon us, I think that interpersonal communication skills is something that's tricky for a lot of kids. Just they don't have the language base for how to share, how to take turns, how to cooperate, what those kinds of things mean. And so for me, that's kind of the focus in listening and speaking and things like that.
So maybe you should be at home teaching mom and dad how to help them.
You know, to be honest, there are lots of opportunities for families to come to school and to learn how to interact with their children. And currently I'm actually working on my thesis, and it actually involves kind of bringing a digital component to families to kind of make homework an experience where they can watch me do the example through a video, and then they can kind of see how I talk to the children, and I'm kind of hoping that some of that will help as well.
Well, so that's fascinating. As you're doing your graduate work on that, what have you found? What have you gathered together to be able to write that thesis?
Well, it takes a lot of work, but so far I'm just kind of in the stages of kind of gathering my data and kind of looking at research in past. And so I've looked at family systems and how to get parents and families involved in school. And so I was kind of looking for a unique way to do that. And I just have a passion for technology, so I wanted to meld those two. And it seems like homework is a hot button for a lot of families. There's not a lot of time, and being a new parent myself, I can't even imagine adding, dance or swimming or wrestling or gymnastics into the mix. But there's not a lot of time for families. And so how can I make it easier for them to help their child understand and learn and practice at home and kind of bridge that connection from school to home.
And so now technology has helped you in a lot of ways, because even kids who are first-year learners are really embracing technology, aren't
Oh,
they?
absolutely. I in years past have actually I dabble in a lot of different things with technology. I just kind of am interested in it. And so, my kids are using iPads in the classroom, but for years past we've had mobile laptops. And so I've actually created a kindergarten blog. And in the spring, my kids actually start typing their own stories on the computer. And you'd be surprised at how many just know what to do.
No kidding.
Yes. And the first year, it was kind of crazy because those kids are now third graders and they're blogging as third graders. And most of them told their third grade teacher, I remember doing this. We did this when I was little. And their blog is still there, so they can kind of connect the two.
Do you worry that they don't then focus on actual cursive writing if they're typing and doing those other things?
I think that there's an importance in things like penmanship and cursive and traditions like that. But I also think that in order to prepare these children to be 21st century learners, it's my job and my responsibility to provide all opportunities that there are.
Yeah.
So.
And so how have the kids helped you do your job?
To be honest, children in general are always information seekers. And so for me, I kind of take their lead. Like, what are they interested in? What kinds of things can I do to change my kind of teaching and my presentation style to match what they need?
And so that's kind of a different thought process, and maybe why you would be praised as an employee, because you really respond to your customers, who are those kids.
I have such a passion for being with children and that zest for knowledge and that passion to move forward. I think that it's important to look to the children and kind of see what's important to them.
Yeah, and so if kids have communication challenges, how do you know whether or not they're really learning or being prepared to learn? What are some of the things that even advice you could share with parents that they should look for?
As far as communication, just from my experience, kids have a certain amount of working memory at this young age, and so they can hold 2 to 3 new pieces of information in their mind at one time and be able to extract that back. So kind of looking to parents to, even play simple games with them and what can you remember, kind of working on that memory, because the more practice that they have with that, the better that they'll be prepared to move forward when it comes to academics.
So now, how do you, as a teacher in the kindergarten level in Charlotte, move forward and even work in an environment where you have a young child yourself? That's a challenge, isn't it?
I have 2 young children. They're babies, so
Yeah.
they're not there yet. But
that's a tough. That's a life professional career kind of challenge that you make and have to meet every day.
It's been really eye-opening to just even have children myself and kind of put myself in parents' shoes for the first time and really kind of understand all the stressors and factors that parents have to bring to the table after they drop their kids off at school. They only have 2 or 3 hours a night with their children, and I get them the rest of the time. Blessed am I that I get to do that. But that's a lot of responsibility to be, the sole adult in their lives for, 7, 8 hours a day. So I'm thankful that parents trust me with that, but I kind of have a new understanding of that,
And so as a teacher, I would imagine that your children will be fortunate to have you there when they come home. But also, as you send those kids home to their parents, what do you want the parents to do? What can they do to make their kids better students? Because it's a very important age that you're dealing with.
It is a really important age, and you know, I think for me, all I want for parents is to just be involved and to just be aware of where their student is academically. And so I do a lot of assessments and kind of give parents a lot of information so that they have that, so they know where their kids are in school. But as far as everything else, I mean, I think it's really important for parents to just spend time with their kids.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, there's such limited time that families have together. And so, you know, kids are spending all of their time. I mean, they work hard. They work hard at school. All kids, K-12, work hard at school. And I think there needs to be some opportunity for them at home to just be a family, to spend time together, to take that time to do that.
And so, kids are kind of sponges. They pick up on how their parents communicate and maybe their brothers and sisters. Have you had the opportunity then to have generations of
Oh, absolutely.
of kids come
Absolutely.
through?
I've had several generations of kindergarten kids coming through, so I've had every child in the family in kindergarten, but I've also had the opportunity to have some third graders that then when I switched to kindergarten, I had their younger siblings. And so it's kind of interesting because I had some kids that thought I would be teaching third grade the following year, and I wasn't. And so I had some kids that were kind of disappointed because they were the last ones in their family to try and, you know, be in my classroom, and I switched on them. But you know, it's kind of fun to be able to see families grow and expand and to see the different children. You know, so yeah, it's really cool.
And you're doing graduate work in education now, and it's very notable. But why would someone want to be a teacher?
Oh, you know, I think being a teacher is just part of who you are. So I can't pinpoint a separation between my job and me as a person because it's just kind of who I am naturally. But I would think that people want to be a teacher to affect change. So.
And so then why have you chosen to be a teacher in Charlotte?
You know, Charlotte is a great community. It's a smaller community, which is something that was important to me when I was looking for a job 10 years ago. And I like the sense of being in a place where there's support, so all around.
And so in a perfect world, you'd like to stay here as long as you possibly could, I would imagine?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so how would you see your job as a teacher change? You probably never could predict all of the technology and change you've gone through in the last 10 years. So how do you think it might change in the future?
You know, that's just kind of one of the things about our profession is that you just kind of have to roll with whatever comes your way. And so whatever challenges present themselves, I mean, you just have to be able to adapt and move forward. So I'm not sure what's coming, but I know things are cyclical. Things come back. So I know what I've done 10 years ago, I'll see again someday. So I look forward to some of those things.
Well, what else should people know about you as an individual, as a person, not just as a kindergarten teacher in Charlotte?
I don't know.
Oh, well, go ahead. Tell us a secret, something that nobody knows, and we promise we won't tell anybody. Now that we're on camera, go ahead.
I promise you won't tell anyone.
You obviously work hard in the classroom.
I do. I would say a secret something is that I'm a writer. So I publish poems and other things, and it's kind of one of my passions, one of my hobbies. I don't think that a lot of my students know that, but when I tell them I'm a writer, I don't think they believe it. But it's just one of the things that I love.
Oh, that's great. So in the future, what would you like to do in the classroom? Is there anything that you're thinking about that you would like to do, or some vision for? I mean, you seem to be very adaptive to what the kids' needs are, but what would you like to accomplish in kindergarten?
You know, it's kind of a big question. I'm
Well,
not
it is
really sure.
As you
I
think
mean,
about the thesis that you're writing, I mean, and any sort of graduate work forces you to do some big picture thinking. You're still in the process of gathering knowledge right now about
Yep.
education, aren't you?
oh yeah, absolutely. But it's a process as a teacher. I'm expected to also be a lifelong learner. And so I think that that's one thing that I want to make sure that I'm consistently putting forward in myself is to push myself the way that I push the students in my classroom. So, 10 years from now, I'm still learning. I mean, you walk in my classroom, it's not going to look the same as it did the year before. So I'm kind of hoping and striving for that. So.
Well, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
your designation Employee of the Month.
Thank
It's been
you.
delightful to talk with. I'm
Thank you very
Bob
much.
Colton. We'll continue our conversations in Charlotte Public Schools.